do it. So today, I'm really excited. We're kind of doing this once a month. Hopefully once a month, we'll be able to fit these in. Right now, maybe with the holidays might be a little more difficult, but top producer, top tips, top 10 tips, and whatever else you want to call it. But things you've learned, things, just the best of the best is what I'm, hoping for all of us, the betters, and that we can just keep on striving to do some of the things that some people do best and some people do really well and some people do better. So kind of trying to take the heart out of all the watermelons that we have in this company and share them with everybody. And April, who always, whenever I ask her for anything, she always does everything possible to move mountains to make things happen, has said yes, that she would join us. And April is a wife, is a mom, is a veteran. Thank you for your service. Just had Veterans Day, and a friend to a lot of people, a team leader. And I don't know how she gets it all done, but she also accomplishes a lot while she's doing it. And I really admire her, and she's probably one of the most coachable people I know, which means a lot to me, maybe not to everybody, but something that really means a lot to me. But I love how April has built just an awesome business, and those, I don't mean those words lightly, built a business, not just sold real estate. She's really built a business, and she's got some incredible people that she's mentoring and coaching and teaching and working alongside of that also are building great businesses. And I asked her if she'd share with us. And so April, today, just share whatever way and what you want. I had my idea of what I wanted to ask you to do, but however that comes out is just fine. And go for it. Do it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Carol. I'm really excited to be here today. I love to share, and I love to, kind of brainstorm and give good ideas, learn and teach. So, you had said the top 10. So I did come up with a list of 10. The first one, I'm just going to kind of delve right into it here. And thank you for all of the nice compliments you said there in the beginning. And one of the things I'm going to touch on this is finding a coach. And before I jump into that, which is bullet point number 8, would not be here right now without you. So thank you. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for me and my business. Okay, so, 2020 has been a little bit different, and I've really found it to be a year of revamping all of my systems and all of my processes and really fine-tuning things. And kind of, everyone has a word of the year. I think for me, it would come down to streamlining. I have streamlined so many different aspects of my business that really accomplish a lot of different facets. So the first thing I want to talk about is one of the ways that I've streamlined, and that's templates. Templates have become a driving force behind everything that I do. And there's 3 different types of templates that I've created. I've created email templates, print templates, and text templates. And anytime you guys can be putting one of these templates into play, it's really going to make you look that much more professional, that much more streamlined, and save you time. And anywhere we can be cutting corners off of our time is a huge win in my book. And, it was funny when I first got into real estate, that first year or two, I used to be this big, I am not a script person. I don't do scripts. Scripts are not my thing. And I really thought that was the truth. I saw scripts as calling somebody on a phone and saying, hi, my name is April. Do you want to sell your house? And if they say yes, then I have to say this. And if they say no, then I have to say this. And I was like, I will never be scripts. Turns out absolutely everything that I do in real estate is a script. Everything. If you say something or you do something more than once, it's a script. And if you guys have a script, you should be turning it into a template and you should be utilizing it. So I want to give you guys a couple examples of some of these, that have been really powerful in my business and a lot of, the people that I work with over the last year. First one I want to touch on is going to be email templates. I have a series of Allie, like 3 or 4 different email templates that go out at very specific points of a transaction The first one that I send out is right after somebody goes under contract, they automatically get an email that says, congratulations, you're under contract. This is who I am. This is who my TC is if you have one. And this is exactly what you guys can expect moving up next here. You know, this is when your walkthrough's been scheduled. This is, you know, what happens once inspections are done. And so if you have something that you're telling people consistently over and over again, once they're under contract, turn it into a template that you guys can just email right off the bat. Another one that I do, once we're through the home inspection, they get their next template. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna, oh, wait, where did you guys go here? I'm going to show you, where did my screen share go on this? Guys, where's screen share? I just had it right here, now it's gone. Do you see it?
The green button, usually
There
in the
we go.
bottom center.
Thank you, it just popped up here. Okay, so I'm going to pull this one up here. Did we get that? Cool. All right, so this one, if you guys can see, this one is my next one. So once they go under contract and we're moving into, you know, kind of coming out of that home inspection stage, I send out my next steps email. And this is what I'm talking about. Hey team, and this goes to lender, this goes to title, this goes to the buyers, this goes to the listing agent or the buyer's agent, whoever it is that's involved. You know, the closing is quickly approaching. I just wanted to touch base with everybody. Here's some of your upcoming details. This is when your walkthrough scheduled. This is when and where your closing is scheduled for. Still needed, please contact your utility companies. If you look here, you know, please make sure you're changing your address. I've even got something in there about, you know, updating things on Amazon and Netflix, all those little things that people forget about. Start building this template and start sending this out consistently. It keeps everybody on the same page, and it really just helps save all of those little extra phone calls that come in that say, hey, April, I need to set up the utilities. Who do I contact for that? Well, hey, I was already way ahead of the curve. I already sent this to you guys and you guys are already jumping on it. Way to go. So really start thinking through each one of these different things that you guys can be building into email templates. When you get towards the end of it, send a third one out that's entitled closing. That goes over, you know, quick reminder. This is when the walkthrough is, this is when the closing is, and this is what you guys can expect from now until closing, right? Little things that make you look very professional, that is so easy to implement into your business that you can do over and over and over again. So that is the email templates. Next thing that I've really streamlined is called text templates. For the text templates, it is, do you ever find yourself just texting the same thing over and over and over again? No matter what the topic is, it can come down to radon. Get the text, hey, April, what's radon? You know, and I just am constantly saying the same things over again. You know, radon is a natural odorless gas that's found all throughout, blah, blah, blah. You guys all know what it is. Start turning all of those things into quick and easy texts that you guys could be sending out. And here's two examples of them. For me, I have an iPhone. I just build them in my notes section. I'm sure any phone type has a notes section in it. So when somebody asks me something specific, all I need to do is go jump into my notes, find the template, whether it's this one over here, which is the radon mitigation, copy and paste that right into the text, boom, I'm done. It was that easy. You can't believe the minutes that I've wasted in my career retyping this one over and over. Over here on this side, I send this out as soon as people go under contracts. Congratulations again. Here are your next steps. You need a $1,000 earnest deposit made payable to Green Title or whoever your title company is. This is how you drop it off. We need to get your home inspection scheduled. Here's some that past clients have used successfully. Of course, there are many in the Omaha Metro. The more advantage that you guys are taking of creating these templates, the faster that you guys are going to be getting your job done, the more efficiently and the more professional you're going to look. Which brings me to my personal favorite, which is the printed templates. You guys, I have so much fun with printed templates. And these are things that I'm bringing with me on listing appointments, on buyer's orientations, things like that, you know, that I can actually hand to people. And most people just think about, you know, having a buyer's pack and a listing pack. Sure, I do have those. I have a lot of fun making those things. If you guys ever need some good ideas on how to get some of those templates in place, let me know. I really do have a lot of fun with it. But then start to think outside the box, right? What are some things that we say over and over and over again? And how can we get these things, you know, streamlined? So check this out. I'll give you guys a couple of examples of some of mine that I have made over the course of time. one of the things that people say to me constantly is, like when you sit down with a buyer, right? What's a good way to keep track of all of the buyer's info? I've created this template. So when they sit down, we're going to do a home buyer's orientation. I hand this to them. I give them a couple of minutes to fill all of this out. And then when I come back in, I collect it. And then I have all of the buyers' name, their number. Are you single? Are you married? How did you hear about us? Who is the referral? Have you already been pre-approved? What's your loan type? Do you have any military service? Check that out. You guys, there's so much good information in here. It's so easy for people to tell you information verbally and then just to completely forget it when the time comes when you're actually trying to get them under contract and stuff. And so this is one of the print templates that I have found that I'm always re-asking for this information throughout the course of a transaction. So really it's been a powerful one. Another one is, do you ever get the question, April, who are some good lenders that we should be talking to? It's really easy just to say, hey, here are 3 lenders. Give them more than that. Try to step above what the normal agent does and think about these templates. This has been a really powerful one that I've put into, everything that I do. When I send over the list of lenders, I also send over this, choosing the right lender. Hey guys, here's some questions that you should be asking your lender, right? Start with your research. What is this going to cost me? What are your interest rates looking like? We may be looking for houses on the evenings and the weekends, right? People love this form because it gives them something to refer back to when they're talking to lenders. Again, it's these print templates that are so easy to create. Taking it into the listing appointment, I have implemented 2 in the last year that have been super powerful and has actually won me a couple of listing appointments that I would love to share with you guys. One of them here is, I bring this with me. It's printed out on nice cardstock, it's just like a flyer size. And it's, hey guys, once you're under contract, this is kind of how that process looks, right? For every one of these color blocks that you guys see, that's when somebody's going to be in your house. So, the inspection, the termite, here's some bullet points about how all those things go. The ones that grade out, that's when you guys will be leaving your house. You need to go to the title company and sign your deed set. And then if you guys put this up on your fridge or whatever, you guys can be writing your times and dates into these as we go through the process, right? It's creating those little tools that really pull processes together and really takes the stress off of sellers and buyers who don't necessarily understand this process like we do. I think we sometimes forget that they don't know all of this. The other one that I've created that has been hugely popular this year is it's called a timeline sheet. And I don't have a copy of it here in front of me right now. But when you sit down with a seller and you say, all right, give me your ideal closing date. If you guys could pick one date out of thin air that would be perfect for you guys to close, what would it be? And they say, well, gosh, April, we think like February 15th. I have a form where I go, okay, you're closing February 15th. Next line, we know that in order for you to be closed by February 15th, we need to have you under contract no later than X date, because we know that this typically takes 45 days. And then you write that date in. Okay, working backwards, we know for you to be under contract by X date, we need to have you live on the market by this date, which means we need to have your staging done by this date and your photography done by this date. I fill all of that out there in person with them and I leave it with them. And almost consistently, every single time that a person has looked at me and said, April, we talked to like 4 other agents and nobody else walked us through that. It's a really powerful text template that you guys can just be incorporating that's very simple. So I would have to say that, streamlining all of these different types of templates has been probably the most powerful thing that I've really fine-tuned over 2020. And I encourage each one of you guys to figure out what your scripts are and figure out how you can be streamlining those to be very professional and to save that time. So that's my first really big thing here. Second thing that I want to talk about, and it's something that the very brilliant Aubrey has brought up last week, and I really want to reiterate how fundamentally important this has been to my business since my very first year. That's using that whiteboard to track all of your transactions. There's a couple of reasons why I really think that the whiteboard is powerful. I do have one of mine right here. I don't know if I can't see what I'm showing here. All right, so you guys see this here? I do the same thing as Aubrey. It's got the buyer's name, how much it's under contract for, all the loan information, all the title information, kind of the whole process. This is one thing I do a little bit differently that I discovered the first year. I have mine on magnetic strips. That way then as closing dates are changing, I can just take them and move them around. And so those were really cheap. I just ordered them off of Amazon. And this has been really handy for making sure everything stays straight. I love the idea of putting them on the magnetic strips in order to keep all of your closing dates lined up and in order. Go ahead, you're good. Thanks, Sally, appreciate that. The other big thing that really accomplishes for me and has accomplished for 5 years is when I'm sitting here in my office and I just kind of pull my chair back and I'm looking at it and I've got 5 strips on it, I feel that ping of motivation and I go, I should be doing something right now because I still have 8 slots on there that I need to fill. And you're going to find the more that you look at that board, the more motivation you're going to find to be doing things like writing your notes and doing your Popeyes, staying in front of your clients, Facebook marketing, whatnot, because you're seeing those empty blanks on there. And it's almost like a challenge. Like, I know I can get those filled if I just push a little bit harder right now. So I really also encourage you guys to be getting those going. I love the magnetic strips. That keeps it looking very nice and clean and easy to organize. So big fan of that, which brings me kind of to my third point here. This is a lesson I learned very much incredibly the hard way, very much the hard way. And sometimes your best learned lessons are ones that, you've learned through very big mistakes that you've made, which I've got millions that I can share in my business. Whenever you recommend a title company, whenever you recommend a lender or whatever it is, I really recommend that you say it in groups of 3. I've got 3 home inspectors, I've got 3 lenders, and never make it your recommendation. I always say, I've got 3 lenders that past clients have successfully used during their transactions. Of course, there are hundreds in the Omaha Metro. Please do your research and let me know who you want to move forward with. Same with the home inspectors. Very important that you're putting this in here. Always put it down in writing. Here are 3 home inspectors that past clients have very successfully used. Of course, there are hundreds in the Omaha Metro. Please do your research and let me know who you want to move forward with. Those little legalities, those little things that can come back and bite you in the butt, which have come back and gotten me a couple of times, again, lessons learned the hard way, are really going to be powerful components of your business. So always be thinking along the lines of 3, right? And always be thinking along the lines of somebody else's recommendation from past transactions. Okay, which is going to bring me into number 4. I am a huge verbiage people. I don't know how many of you guys really struggle with verbiage. I have spent my whole career kind of struggling with verbiage. And something that I've always learned is that if you don't take the gray area out of verbiage, it's going to come back and haunt you and get you in one way or another. So one of the most powerful things that I have started doing is whenever I write something down on a home inspection removal addendum or a general addendum or, whatever the case is, I always stop and read it a couple of times. And I always think, where can this go wrong? What happens if situation A or B happens? Nope, we don't have that addressed in here. We should probably go ahead and address it. A lot of real estate is very, very gray. And I do see it as our jobs to turn those gray areas as black and white as possible. And so one example of that would be siding. Let's say, you had a home inspection and the home inspector says, hey, several patches of the siding on the back side of the house or on the side of the house look like they might possibly have some old hail dings on them, or they look like they might be damaged. Probably worth it to have those looked at and potentially replaced. So you as the agent, you pull out the home inspection removal addendum and you write down the word, qualified siding contractor to evaluate the siding on the house and repair/replace as recommended, invoice needed, right? It's fine. There's nothing technically wrong with it until you sit back and you go, well, where's the gray area in that? And the gray area very well could be you guys roll up, they agreed to do that. You guys roll up on the day of the final walkthrough and the house looks like a freaking zebra, right? They did not color match that paint whatsoever on that hardboard. And next thing you know, your buyers are really upset and they're going, well, we don't want to accept it looking like that. And the sellers are going, oh, but gosh, you guys didn't say anything about the paint color. You guys just said you wanted it repaired. right? So it could be very powerful in the beginning to put in there. If they cannot do an exact color match, then we want A or B to happen. We want the whole house repainted and the buyers reserve the right to pick out the paint color, whatever you want it to say. So I really encourage each and every one of you guys to really start thinking along the lines of finding the gray area and verbiage. And then when you guys do get that really tight wording down, which can take a while to get there, start a file. It can be notes in your phone. Again, going back to those templates, right? That way, next time you guys have a new roof that needs to be put on or new siding or HVAC, whatever it is, you guys can go into your notes and you can pull out and say, oh yeah, that's right. Last time I needed to write that up, this is exactly what I wrote down. It worked really well. Yeah, I feel like, you know, it was really solid moving forward. The number of times, roof is a big one. I don't know how many of you guys struggle with the verbiage on a roof when the home inspector says, you know, hey, the roof looks like it might have some damage and it's got some pitting and some bruising. If you guys ever need help writing a roof addendum, just let me know. I've had so many mistakes with it that at this point I feel like it's very solid. But just taking little things into consideration, like, what happens if the shingles need to be replaced? Who gets to pick out that shingle color? And what if the roofer says, well, nope, everything looks good, but then the buyer's home insurance company gets up there and says, sorry, we can't insure this roof, or whatever the case is. Be thinking always a step or two ahead beyond what you think might happen, and try to find some of that gray area. So that's been very powerful, and I encourage you guys to start keeping track and notes of that verbiage and talk to each other. Everybody's got good verbiage if you just talk to them. So we can all be sharing that with each other, I feel. That's going to kind of bring me into the Facebook side of things. I have preached this before. You guys have probably all heard me say it a couple of times. It's still a massive part of my business, is that Facebook VIP page. You guys cannot believe how that VIP page gets me referrals, keeps me in front of my clients all the time. It's just called, I think, April Tucker's VIP page. And I put all of my clients into that, whether they're people who think they might want to work with me or people who, I've already closed or I'm currently in the process of working with. I don't post on it a whole lot, you guys. I really don't. But what I have found is my clients all get on there and they all talk to each other. I have one person who gets on there and says, hey, does anybody know a good HVAC company? And next thing I know, I've got a group of 5 or 6 of them chatting with each other about, HVAC companies. It's really awesome to watch. Things like the pie party coming up. It was so easy. I got on there. I said, hey guys, time for my 5th annual pie party. This is the information. This is what you need to know. All I need to know is apple or pumpkin. Boom. I had 50 responses within the first couple of hours. It is such a powerful tool for staying in front of the people, getting the word out there about events, and just kind of having, especially for me, I work a lot in the military. And so sometimes having a lot of the, people talking with each other is really good for referral sources. And so anyways, I really encourage you guys to look into creating that VIP page. If you have not already, I think that that's a really, really powerful proponent of a business that not nearly enough people explore or use. Which brings me into, have you guys been doing any showings virtually this year? It's so weird that people can't talk back. I mean, everyone can just unmute themselves, because it's so weird to me. I'm used to people jumping in and asking questions. So it's definitely going a little quicker than it normally would. So I'd love to hear some answers or questions at the end. Anyways, you guys, I'll
unmute everybody, but make sure your background is quieted. So that'll make it easier.
just feel free to jump in if you guys have any questions. All right. Has anybody been doing Facebook Lives this year for showings? Has anybody had to start utilizing that? I know in my business, especially with COVID-19, military, people being nervous going out, I've been doing a lot of it. I want to share how I do not Facebook Lives, showings. That's what I meant to say. Who's having to do virtual showings? That's where I meant to go with it. I think a lot of people are doing virtual showings this year. So this has been a really creative solution that I've come up with for virtual showings. What I do is I get on Facebook, I go into my groups and I click on create, and I create a group. The group can be called, you know, the Reader House Hunt or whatever my client's name is, right? In that group, which I always make private, and I always make it so that nobody else can find it except for the people that I put in there, and those are settings. And if you guys want help setting it up, I'm happy to help you guys set one of these up and show you the ropes on how to do that. I put any of the decision makers in there. So I put my buyers in there, you know, the spouses. If you have a TC or admin, go ahead and add them in there as well. And then all that happens is when I roll up to the house, I take out my phone, I start a Facebook Live, and literally they can walk through the house with me. Now, we all know that Facebook Lives, it's very easy for people to text in real time, you know, just like our chat messenger on here. So they can be asking me questions. Hey, April, can you go back and go relook at the fridge? Or can you go back and go look at the fireplace area? You can take that one step further, and this has been really popular with my people. And there's a button that you guys can press on a Facebook Live. I can screenshot it and share it with the group later. That actually brings the buyer onto the screen with you. It creates a split screen, and you guys can talk to each other, just like we can talk right now. It's just like a Zoom. And so you're actually talking to your buyer in real time as you're walking through the house. You can carry on a full conversation. You guys, that has been a game changer for a lot of these virtual showings, because it just creates really solid conversation between two people. And my people always walk back out of that house feeling like they had actually walked through it themselves, feeling like they didn't miss anything, feeling like they could carry on a good conversation. I really encourage each one of you guys to start using that if you do not. The other really nice part about a Facebook Live is that you just automatically share it to the page when it's done. I used to do it through YouTube. I don't know how many people here are still using YouTube for it, where you go through, you take the full video, you got to go get on Wi-Fi, you've got to wait forever for it to upload. You hope that there's not a hitch. Half the time there is a hitch. And you're lucky if you can get to the point of being able to share the YouTube link with your people. This is so streamlined. Most everybody has Facebook. And if you don't have a TC or an admin, I encourage you to find another agent who you're close to, maybe an accountability partner, put them in there, because one of the coolest aspects about doing this is, like for me, I usually have Allie or Tiffany in there, right? So I'm walking through and the buyer says, hey, April, do you know how old the HVAC is? I can't look that up the way I normally would during a real life showing, right? So instead I can say, hey, Allie, she's on here watching this. She already saw the question. She's already looking up the information, and she's getting us answers about the house in real time. Nothing makes you look more professional than that. It is so streamlined. It is so easy for the buyers, and they are absolutely loving it. And this desk moves. It just moved on me. I'm sorry. It's very strange. Okay, so anyways, that has been really powerful, especially in the age of COVID right now. And if anybody needs help on how to set up one of these Facebook groups, just give me a call, and I'm happy to walk you guys through exactly how to do that. And I just encourage everyone to do it.
Could you, April, could you do a little recording of
Yeah.
how to do that?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we can put it in our video library, number one.
Mhm.
But we can also share it with everybody else.
Yeah,
These are the kinds of
absolutely.
things that these little tips that we can upload into our library. Like this entire ATA is being recorded, and this will be in the library with the last couple of months of ATAs that we've been gathering. So, and Tim's
Awesome.
been uploading. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go ahead and get a video put together on that and share it with you guys.
Yeah.
It is so slick. It is so slick. Go ahead and start using it. Your clients will love you for it. I also, going back to that, I mean, if you really want to go a step above a lot of agents in the area, and we should, here in this brokerage, I really feel that everybody should strive to be a step ahead and a step better than any other agent in any other brokerage, simply by proxy of being part of this brokerage. And I just think it's so paramount that each one of us starts thinking along the lines of being a superior agent. And that's kind of the theme I keep going back to. What can we be doing here to really stand out? And so one of those things, involving these Facebook Lives, even when I have people here in town, right, and they're working, it's a really crazy fast-paced market out there. And so I have, said to my people, hey, this house just listed, it's 210, it's in Bellevue. I know you guys are both at work until 5 o'clock. I'm going to go jump in there and do a Facebook Live. If you're able to watch, great. If not, just watch it whenever you can, because if it's worth it, then let's get in there the minute you guys are out of work. But if it's not worth it, then don't waste your time and you guys can head on home for the evening. Start thinking about ways that you guys can utilize, some of this technology to really set yourself apart from what anybody else is doing. And clients really appreciate that. A lot of them are busy and they work all day and they've got littles that they need to get home after work and get dinner going. And they don't necessarily want to go jump into a house if it's not going to be the right fit for them. So be thinking outside of the box with some of this technology stuff. It can be very powerful to implement into your business. Okay, so then Facebook and podcasts, probably one of the best things that I've discovered, well, over the last several years. Let's talk about Facebook first. If you guys are not on national Facebook groups, right, you guys absolutely have to be, for a couple of reasons. Some of my favorites, just to throw some names out there, is going to be your lab coat agents. What a freaking wealth of information it is. Holy moly, you guys, your minds will be blown when you guys see what all is on there. Real Estate Masterminds is a really good one. Real Estate Mega Moms is an awesome one for any of you moms out there. And Real Closers has been really good as well. I really like Real Closers. And what you're going to find are agents all over the country that are all pitching questions to each other on their best business practices. Lots of really in-depth conversations about verbiage and processes and things like that. But more than that, especially on Lab Coat Agents, when you guys log into that, let me show you this over here, because it will blow your mind when you see what all you guys can get on this. So let me come in here. Let me go to Lab Coat Agents. All right, check this out. This is intense. So this has got 130,000 real estate agents from around the country on it. How cool is that? They are constantly doing little mini live sessions and brainstorm sessions, things like that. When you're in here, you can just come up here and you can put in, listing presentation, and you're going to pull up thousands of posts where you guys can read through things that people are including in their listing presentations, copies of listing presentations. It will expand your business. A lot of the templates that I showed you of my print, I got a lot of these ideas just by being on these pages and by watching them and by getting really involved in a lot of the conversations. But when you guys are in here, I want you guys to come right here to this files tab. And this is in any of these groups, you guys. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. It is absolutely insane. So take any subject in the world, you guys will find follow-up buyer lists, farm analysis, seller. I mean, this is it's just crazy. You could dig through here forever and find templates that other people have created that you can take and make your own. I don't know what this one is, and it's trying to pull up here. And it's not working. Look at that. That is so cool. It just kind of walks you through all of that. So really easy to take a concept like this and go, hey, that's brilliant. That's understandable. It's super cute. I bet you I can go jump into Canva and make that my own, right? Because, obviously not everybody's be calling an attorney. But there are literally thousands and thousands of files that you guys can be walking through on these. Start using these Facebook pages to really start taking your business outside of yourself and to start seeing what people around the country are doing. I know agents like Barbara Betts are all over these Facebook pages. They're usually doing different little trainings on them and whatnot. So I really encourage each one of you guys to really start delving into these. The other really big game-changing thing that I've been really doing a lot this year are real estate podcasts. And I've even taken it outside of the real estate realm. Every morning, my poor husband probably thinks I hate him at this point because I just constantly have ear pods in all the time. I've got ear pods in. It's got to drive him crazy. But I listen a lot to murder podcasts. I'm like a huge murder junkie. If you're not listening to My Favorite Murder, you're missing out. But outside of that, I absolutely love my real estate podcasts. Some of my favorites are the LCA podcast, which is the Lab Coat Agents podcast. You guys can tell I'm a huge fan of Lab Coat Agents. The Hyperfast Agent podcast out of Washington, D.C. Carrie, whatever her name is out there. That's a phenomenal podcast, you guys. They're shorter. Each one's probably 20 to 30 minutes of super solid, discussion involving a conversation with somebody around the country who's really a top-notch, guru in that field, whatever the topic is. Get on Hyperfast, get on Lab Coat Agent. You guys will find hundreds of topics, really easy to listen to, really great way, when you're out driving around doing showings, just throw them onto your car, and the amount of stuff that you're going to learn is mind-blowing. I really love the Instagram ones. You guys, I struggle with Instagram like you can't believe. I don't know if I'm just too old or what it is. I'm probably too old. But ones like Instagram Now and Instagram Secrets, they really teach you a wealth of information about how to get started in Instagram, how to post to Instagram, how you should be setting up your Instagram pages when you're, in a small business owner, things like that. The team building podcast, that's here done locally through Jeff Cohn, not the biggest fan there all the time, but a lot of his content that he has on that is absolutely phenomenal. And he brings in really great agents from around the country for it. So really start delving into some of these. Like, here's a stat that I learned, and I want to share this stat with you guys because this just really blew my mind yesterday. I was listening to a podcast. I think it was on the Hyperfast Agent show. They were talking to a national PR rep who does, big PR campaigns and runs, like celebrities, Instagram pages, social media. Obviously, we're not running anybody's celebrity stuff here, but she had really good tips and tricks that real estate agents can implement into their business to help them stand out in their own marketplace. It was phenomenal. I learned a ton. But the biggest thing that I learned is, when you have, this is going to blow your mind. My 5-year-old always says, Mom, it's going to blow your super mega mind. And this is one of those things that blew my super mega mind. When you have a website, a Facebook page, Instagram, we're in scroll nation, right? People are just scrolling, all right? They pull up your Facebook or your website, it's quick. It used to be not that long ago that you had 7 seconds to catch somebody's attention on social media or on your, on your Google or your, website, whatever it is. 7 seconds. And, that's a decent amount of time to try to catch somebody's attention before they're like, that's kind of boring and we're going to move on. That is now at 1.7 seconds. You have less than 2 seconds to catch somebody's attention on social media or catch somebody's attention on your website. If you don't hook them in less than 2 seconds, they are gone and they are not coming back. That changed the way that I look at all of my marketing, all of my videos, all of my website, everything that I do, because all of a sudden it gets you thinking in the mindset of, what is something that's so big and so outside the box that it's going to hook that person in 2 seconds? I haven't come up with it yet, but I'm hoping Matt Bills is going to have a good solution for me. That is quick, you guys. I would not have learned that fact. I would have thought it was 5-7 seconds had I not been listening to one of these podcasts. And it just really changed my game plan moving forward for advertising. So they can be very, very powerful components of your business. Start listening to podcasts. They rock, you guys. Which brings me to the next point here, which is number 8. Again, Better Homes, we're a trajectory brokerage, right? It's not necessarily always the nuts and bolts about how to get started, although we do have a good element of that, which I love. A lot of people here know that, and they're trying to get their trajectory going to build their business to be where they want to go. And I have learned that the best way, one of the best ways to do that is find yourself a coach, find yourself a mentor, or find yourself an accountability partner. It is so hard to do this business on your own without somebody else who knows better than you, because there's always somebody else who knows better than you, 100% across the board. being influential in how you get your trajectory going. So I don't care if you're doing 2 transactions a year and you want to get to 5, if you're doing 10 transactions a year and you want to get to 50, whatever that number looks like, even if you're doing 5 transactions a year and you want to keep it at 5 transactions a year, you're not going to be able to do it without somebody else jumping into your business, taking really good stock of what you have going on and saying, this is what you've done really well, but this is going to launch you. And don't be scared of it, because they're not going to say, I need you to cold call 20 people by 5 o'clock tomorrow night. If you find that, coach, I would run. God, I would run. Matter of fact, first time I met Carol, she looked at me and she goes, you look like a deer in headlights. Are you okay? I was terrified that first day, because I really thought she was going to say, I need you to cold call, door knock, whatever the case is. It's not the case, thank goodness. So if you do not have a coach or an accountability partner, if you have an accountability partner, try to find somebody who's just excelling at certain areas where you are weak a little bit more than you are, and you're going to see how that's suddenly going to pull you into realms that are going to get your business on a good track. So I'm so thankful for my coach, who's been Carol, and for people like Barbara Betts and Heather Roxbury, and for people like Nick and Tristan, like Tim and Tom, all of these people who have been so wonderful in keeping me accountable to my business. Please, I encourage each one of you guys to find your person that's going to work for you in order to help you guys get to where you want to go. Don't be scared of it. Which brings me into number 9. This is a very lonely business. It is just lonely. It can be very lonely. It's so, you get so muddled down in the mud of what this business can be, and the constant stress of legalities and finances and the emotions of buyers and sellers, and the constant fear of making a really big mistake that's going to come out of left field to blindside you 2 months after it closed, right? Find your tribe. I've started using the hashtag it takes a village. And that's been in regards to all of my real estate transaction. It is so 100% true. I probably would have quit years ago if it wasn't for my tribe. That's been, Brittany, that's been Jennifer, that's been Allie, that's been this group of like-minded women for me that have we've all rallied together. And sometimes when we just have a horrible day, you can call them up and say, can I come have a margarita with me? Today sucked. And by the time you leave there, you're feeling totally pumped up to go back to work the next day. So find your tribe, find your people that pull you along and pull you out of the mud in all of this business, because it's too easy to get lonely and muddled down in it. So we have such phenomenal people here in this brokerage. And I just encourage you guys to find your people within it. And if you guys need me to be that person, I've got you. So I love talking, about anything and everything. So that's going to bring me into my last one, which is share your stories. I cannot tell you how other people's successes and other people's failures, honestly, have really shaped and molded my career. And one of my all-time favorite things to do is to share all of my mistakes and all of my failures and all of these things that have really dragged me down over my career, and share with people how they've absolutely gotten me to the point where I'm at, how this one thing that happened totally shaped my career moving forward. And when you share that story with me and you tell me your thing that happened and how far it got you in your career, I bet you, and I can tell you with 100% confidence, it's going to shape something in my career too. We're not alone in this. We all have stories to share. And I just really encourage you guys to be talking to each other and to be sharing those stories with each other, because you will be shocked at who needs you in real estate. Somebody needs you. Somebody needs your story. And so that's just kind of the last thing I wanted to touch on here is, don't do any of this alone, and find your people and share your stories, share the ups, share the downs, because we all have them. Nobody here is perfect, least of all me. And that's it. That's what I have for today. But if we have 5 minutes, I want to share one other thing that's going to blow everybody's super mega mind, according to Matthew. Okay. All right. I need to know who my Mac users are, because seriously, my Mac users are going to freak out when they learn this trick. All right, you guys ready? You guys are a lot
I'm
of
all ears.
Ready.
All right, so this has been really huge, you guys. Gosh dang stupid desk. Okay, so check it out. I wonder if I could do this. Can I screen share this?
Sure.
Let's see if I can do this work. Jen, are you on yours or who do I have on here? Okay, pull up your text messages, right? And find, oh, Carol, I just got your text. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, Carol. Let me find Jen because I have a feeling she's on her computer. Okay, I want you to come up here, right? Click on details. Now again, I'm in my text messages on my app. Do you guys see this little button right here? Does anybody else know this? I just discovered this. Ah, it's amazing. Are you on it? You're on it. Thanks, Jen. All right, check it out. When you click on this little button, it says invite to share my screen or ask to share my screen. Now check it out. Invite to share my screen. Which one do I want to click on, Jen? Maybe let's try that one. That just sent a notification to Jen's Mac that we want to share screen so that I can see what she's doing on her screen. Okay, she is now viewing my screen. So everything that you guys are seeing, Jen is now seeing on her computer. When you're doing that with a client, it is so easy to have your purchase agreement in front of you, share it on their Mac, and literally walk them through page by page. So let's come in here and do this one. And then let me ask her to share the screen so I can show you guys what we're talking about. So it's waiting for a response. This has been game changing. So I always ask my clients now, do you guys have a Mac? Because if we're going to be signing paperwork electronically, I can just share it straight to your screen. We can literally walk through it together and you guys can sign right via dot loop right then and there with me, just like we're in person.
April, you're absolutely right. That's amazing. Now, would that work on maybe their
But do you guys see what I'm
iPhone?
doing on that? That is so powerful to be able to do with your people. It's not going through.
So
right
you
now,
pull
but
this up on the
mine.
text on your computer?
Anyways,
April?
start playing around with that. How do I stop sharing this?
April, did you pull that up on your text on your computer?
This is on my computer. Okay,
On your
yeah, so
messages? Okay,
on
yeah.
my Mac computer. So yeah, I'm here on my Mac. I've got my text messages. I click on that. I go to ask to share my screen.
I get
And
it.
then whenever she just finally responds, it literally pulls up everything that's on Jen's. I will now see on my screen.
Hey,
Okay.
can you hear me?
I can hear you. Oh, and that's the other really cool thing, you guys. We can talk to each other through this, just like we're talking on the phone.
Yeah,
So now if Jen pulls up a purchase agreement, right, I can see it here on mine and I can walk her through exactly what she's doing or any documents or anything. If you have a client who's struggling in dot loop to get something signed, she's doing this right now. I'm not touching my computer at all. Literally,
Yeah.
not touching
And
my
I can
computer.
hear her crystal clear.
And I can hear her and you guys can hear her. So
Yeah.
start. It's
Wow.
awesome, right? All right, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jen.
okay, that's
However
another
you're gonna take
video
that.
that I'm gonna need you to do. You guys just
Um,
signed up for another video. That's great.
All right, so
Great.
anyways, you guys, it is the coolest trick in the world if you're a Mac user. I'm sure, well, I'm not sure because PCs aren't great. So maybe your PC might have something like that. Probably not that slick, but you never know.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done. Sorry.
Fantastic. Oh my God, I feel like I just ran the Iron Man.
That
Anybody
was
else?
amazing.
Sorry.
Whoa, okay, so it's probably good that you talk, because otherwise that would have taken 4 hours, that you
I
talked.
know, I'm sorry.
But yes, I'm gonna watch this over again, because I took
Okay.
some copious notes. I think I took like 3 pages of notes and I missed some stuff, but that was fantastic. And anybody have any questions? Let's
I
ask.
saw stuff on the chat, but I couldn't track it.
Yeah,
Hey, really quick, April, that thing you were just showing us, let's say you were on your Mac, but maybe your client was on an iPad or a phone. Do you think you could share your screen with that?
I think so. We could go ahead and trial that, but I would believe so, yes.
I'll try that. Sorry,
Because
thank
what
that is great.
That's crazy.
early
It
on.
is the cool.
Early on in this, Emily Ware asked, do you guys have your buyers schedule their own home inspections or do you do it for them? Personally, I do not have them schedule it.
Mhm.
I think in my whole career, maybe twice or 3 times, I've never had a client that scheduled their own, and it was because they had somebody in their family that was going to do the inspection or something. But no, I don't. So what's your take back on that question?
Me, I always offer to schedule my clients' home inspections. I always say, well, gosh, guys, you know, and again, I always put that verbiage in there. There are hundreds. Let me know who you want to use. I'm never going to dictate it for you. But once you decide, I'm more than happy to give them a call. They're going to ask lots of questions that I just have really easy access to the answers. So if you want, I'll give them a call. If you're more comfortable doing it, just let me know. And they always say, yeah, can you do it? Absolutely. Here's the other thing. By the time my client goes under contract, as part of those template emails, I always, by the time that first email goes out, we try to already have dates set in there for the home inspection, for the final walkthrough, and for the closing. Minute they go under contract, within a day or two, we already have all the times and dates set for all of that. Everybody's on the same page moving forward. They're already in our Google Calendar invites. Like, this is seamless. Then if something needs to change during the course of the transaction, it can, but it prevents you from getting from the end going, oh crap, I never scheduled that final walkthrough and it closes in 4 days, right?
Right.
Again, just that slight edge of taking things a little bit over and above where most agents do it is going to serve your business so well. Yeah.
Great. Questions? Anybody else?
I don't have a question, but you were talking about the short at the beginning. You were talking about quick links and things like that. Peter Manhart talks about that a lot too. I've been doing that for a long time. I actually have in my iPhone, I have all the little shortcuts.
Yeah.
So like if I type in TRBHG, I programmed it that says, hello, this is Tim Reeder with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate.
Mhm.
And so I do that. And then I have lots of those and I'm able to crank things out.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
really good
text
yeah.
text replacement is what it's called, and
Thank
it's general then keyboard on iPhones, then text replacement. I do absolutely everything with text replacement. The moment somebody gets a house, I put the word congrats with an extra S, and it automatically texts them everything, paragraphs of things. It texts them with all kinds of information. Utilities, I put UTLL, and it automatically texts them all of the utilities, all the telephone numbers, everything they need to know and when. So if you're not Popeyes, I don't even do live Popeyes. I just put the word Popeye with an extra Y, and I have literally, it looks as if I just drove by their house and I was thinking about you. Anytime I'm in a neighborhood and I see a house that I sold, I literally, because I can search my phone by the address. I don't even need to remember their names. And literally I can send a pop by and while I'm at a red light.
So Peter, that actually brings up something really good, because I remember that piece that you did. You kind of did that in the middle of an ATA that you and Jen did. It was kind of your top tips at that point, and that was so good. So that would actually also be for our library, one of the 5-minute, 10-minute tips of something that would be helpful to everybody is doing text replacement. Little text replacement dialogues that are already pre-done. So I'm gonna,
yeah, and it's most handy when you're on. Sorry to interrupt, but it's most handy when you're on the, like if you're driving in your car or you're at a family event and somebody calls and wants to sell their house with you. You simply can say to them, "Listen, I'm just tied up right now, but if you could do me a big favor and just text me your information, and I'll text you mine." And the moment I get off the phone, I push info with an extra O, and it automatically texts all of Jen and I's information to them, and they think I'm a super fast typer, but and I can also send them all my lender information at that time too. So I can literally introduce myself via text. These kids are growing up with literally watching these TikTok videos that are 4 seconds long.
Yeah.
Okay. So it isn't going to get, email is going to go away. You know what I mean? Like these kids want like instant, and these kids are going to be, they're going to get great jobs and have a lot of money and be buying houses soon. So anyway, just my 2 cents.
No, I'll give you a shout out because I'm trying to gather a lot of these little small videos. So yeah, any little secret sauce stuff that you guys can do, start thinking about it, because we're gonna just have a pile of places you can go to in our called the Good Life Showroom. You'll be able to look this stuff up. It's kind of the things that we talk about with each other on email all the time too. So we're going to start grabbing some of that stuff. But any questions for April? No? Okay. I think that pretty much wraps it up for for this ATA. Thank you so much, April. That was
It was fantastic. Thank you.
fantastic.
Thank
Yeah,
you for the opportunity, guys. I appreciate it.
thank
We
you.
love
Hope
it.
everybody
Doc-
picks them up that they can put into place right now. Okay, take care. Bye-bye. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Thanks, April.
You're welcome. See you guys.